My thoughts on the commission that is now presently being held to determine whether or not it was legal and proper to invoke the Emergency Act in Canada based on the trucker convoy protests. Let me just go back a little bit here and listen to this young lady. She's going to review the first day of testimony, and I will make a comment after you hear what she has to say.
In Ottawa who represent the downtown wards that were most impacted by the Freedom Convoy protests. So let's talk about the first two witnesses who were these Ottawa residents. Their names were Victoria de la Ronde and Zexi Lee.
All right, okay, and here's the comment I left. You can't make this shit up. The name of one of the bogus witnesses was pronounced Zexi Lee. And then I said this commission will be a total whitewash farce, people, with no consequence to the lying scum who locked us in our romper rooms for over 2 years. I think that probably sums it up. This will be a complete whitewash farce. We get it from the Canadian Constitution Foundation girl. She's going to go on and explain things and take the whole thing seriously. It's not to be taken seriously based on just this quick, ridiculous little thing. Quantum of Conscience Matt would have a field day with this in terms of the ridicule, the obvious ridicule of people who think this is actually part of their plan to expose themselves. No, well, they don't actually care. They have no fear whatsoever because they have the force of their bully system in place. So people sort of, I guess, feel good about arguing and saying, yes, we live in a democracy, we have rights. Well, it just has shown us for the almost 3 years we don't have any rights if the owners decide we don't have any. They lock us up in our rooms and say, you come out, we're going to chop your head off. You're going to get chopped in some form or other. You're not going to like what's going to happen, like Trudeau said. You can refuse the injection, but you're going to not be able to do anything we don't want you to do. And this is all now coming out to have been a complete lie, since the thrust behind all this locking down stuff had to do with transmission, that this injection was going to prevent transmission. And of course, the European hearings, the European Parliament had a hearing where one of the Pfizer CEO, executive president type said, yeah, there was no testing done on transmission, but the governments went ahead and said, anyway, you're going to take this injection or we're going to really come down on you hard. So this commission, as far as I'm concerned, based on this quick admission of one of the witnesses, what I would say was a total bogus witness, this Oriental woman, of all things too, the China virus, right? The Wuhan virus woman said her name is pronounced Zexi Lee. I rest my case. And furthermore, I think I'll just show you Zexi Lee and a little bit of her commentary. And the woman beside her is some sort of mentally weak individual, afflicted, obviously. You can see the eyes are, she has affliction in her eyes, probably the truckers, the trauma that the truckers caused. It's still lingering for her, you know, a year later, almost a year later. And she makes commentary on how troubled she was by the experience. And of course, the entire country has to suffer because a person who is emotionally challenged had to bear witness to the incredible uprising in protest of the illegal actions taken against the citizens, the millions of citizens, compared to a few mentally deranged people who felt personally affronted and challenged a little bit more. They're already over the top. But I just wanted you to see Zexi Lee on the right. Look at Zexi Lee. Do you see what I'm saying? Let's see what they have to say here. Let's see.
Anytime I heard a honk of a horn, and particularly of a large vehicle
Oh, she's not too interested. She's looking out the window, maybe. She's like daydreaming. You see, this witness is totally not credible whatsoever. She's daydreaming while her cohort there makes a few comments.
horn. I could feel it sort of ripples through my body,
Mm.
and I would feel that my nerves were still frayed.
Frayed nerves are a good reason to invoke an emergency act that shuts down the entire country. Because it's frightening. Yes, it's frightening to some people, and some people have a harder time. Zexi Lee, this young girl, even had a hard time.
In the immediate days.
We don't need to hear this. He's going to just sort of sycophant his way through things. Let's see. The other part was, let's see here.
In Ottawa.
Some people may have gotten some cartons of eggs and, you know, had their little retaliation in frustration, because really, what else could they do?
Oh, that's so funny. What else could they do? Actually, that's a criminal act. She's just talking about the fact that people who did not approve of the truckers being there threw eggs at them. That is an assault. That should be investigated by the police. She's chuckling about this. We, as a group of people who felt afflicted, started throwing eggs at the perps who were occupying our street. Why were they occupying the street? Because they understood this was all illegal. And this obviously is not going to come out in this commission, because a person called Zexi Lee isn't going to give credibility to this commission. Here a little more.
And when that incident occurred, I remember the police actually came to my building to inquire about the egg throwing, as a complaint had been made by the truckers. And I remember that I felt it as an affront, and that a lot of my neighbors felt it as an affront as well when they were investigating something like this in the light of everything that was happening to us. And
okay, we're allowed to assault people we don't like. They can't do it to us, but we can do it to them. It's an affront to her that the police investigated an assault complaint by someone who was obviously part of the protests. Anyway, I'll just finish it off. Where else is there something? You want to see her? Let's have a look at her. Let's have a look at Zexi Lee.
Why do you keep lying about this? Hey, whoa, don't touch
Yeah, don't touch him.
You're intimidating.
Miss, why do you think
There goes Zexi Lee in her white dress.
means that the government should
Yes.
take citizens away from
Expose her. I love this guy from Rebel. The Rebel guy is getting her. Oh, look at this. This is Zexi Lee.
After Lee gave
Okay, anyway, my comment, let's end it off on looking at Zexi Lee. Yes. How can you argue with this? This commission is finished. It's done. It's over, as far as I'm concerned.